Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. Well, we're going to look at some breaking news. We're going to look at something that's quite funny and also something that's very ridiculous. I first want to talk about something that broke out of South Korea yesterday with the media company Block in Press. I think they were the first to cover it, and it is about an announcement with Binance doing a large partnership with Yahoo Japan. Now, Yahoo Japan is the #1 source for news here still. Yeah, they are a huge brand. It may be surprising to you, but it is true. And about 8 or 9 hours ago, it is official on the Binance blog that CZ is indeed trying to do a strategic partnership with Z Corp. Z Corp is a subsidiary of Yahoo. They currently operate Tao, which is a crypto exchange platform here. It launched in May. You have to remember that CZ used to be in Japan before he left for Malta. Now, I tweeted this out on my Twitter feed today, and he replied in the feed that he is working on it. Well, I don't know exactly how it's going to shape up, but it should be quite interesting because this space is becoming very interwoven. Let me explain why. SBI entered into a business alliance with Z Corp in October. SBI has the intention to accelerate its financial services, its securities, its FX, its liquidity, and banking. Mr. Kitao is totally changing banking in this country, and the alliance would provide a seamless services between the two, developing new systems and new products. And I do know that CZ is familiar with the FSA, that is the Financial Service Association. They regulate this space with absolute clarity. And on January 15th, they announced the proposed change for exchanges to be required to keep 95% of crypto assets under their watch in a cold wallet. I think this is a very good change because in Japan, many people leave their assets on an exchange. And if you are following CZ on Twitter, you probably saw this short video. This is funny. This is where an old version of a Chinese movie was then edited with this Althea AI, and they put CZ's face in as the lead. It's a little creepy, yeah, and it's a little scary because if you think about how these fake stories can spread, but just think, have you ever thought of how you would look in your favorite movie scene or how you would look in your favorite music video? Well, it can be done now. And the Financial Times did an interesting article about how this technology powers what's called deep fakes. And there is a Japanese startup called Deep Fakes Web, and they will charge you just $2 to use their platform to process a video using their technology. And you can see, if you can look carefully at this particular video on your screen, on the right-hand side, you have the beautiful, gorgeous models walking down the runway. And on the split screen to the left, the faces have been swapped out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, because let me explain in the next story. We have an article that appeared on Medium, and it is really, really ridiculous. This is written by Jeff Goldberg, and he wrote how the XRP Army is part of a Saudi-backed manipulation. Just crazy. And he highlights a few of the active members of the XRP community, but then he moves over to throw shade on Giant Gox. Giant Gox is somebody who in Japan is one of the most respected members of the community here. And Jeff Goldberg tried to draw a correlation with his algorithmic technology that he uses, that it just couldn't be true that Giant Gox has so many Arab speaking or Arab language Twitter users, and that it must be something in terms of manipulation? Well, I want to tell you something here, Mr. Goldberg. If you did any research at all, you would know that Giant Gox has the most comprehensive website about Ripple and XRP in the world. And I can confidently say that. And if you look, you can toggle between many languages. You can toggle between Chinese, English, French, German, Spanish, Indonesian, Hindi, Arabic, Japanese, and Korean. He is a huge resource for people who don't speak English. And there is a great need for resources in this region because the MENA region, which is the Middle East and Northern Africa region, is really getting traction with the RippleNet technology. And maybe if you can just look beyond your nose, you would see that it is, most of it is due to Naveen Gupta. Mr. Gupta is the managing director of South Asia and the Middle East and Northern Africa region, and he's doing an amazing job in this part of the world. So of course, the people in the Middle East want to follow up on all the deals that he has done. Mr. Gupta, by the way, when he was in Japan, was voted the #1 cash management bank in Japan for HSBC. So maybe, Mr. Goldberg, maybe we can say that Naveen Gupta and Giant Gox are working together. Yeah, that's how ridiculous your article is. And the problem when you do this irresponsible journalism, which I can't even use that word, you've got other media outlets that aren't researching at all, and they just pick up on your story. And here we have on January 15th, revealed XRP Army glitter might be part of a Saudi-backed manipulation. So this is why you are damaging this space, and I'm calling you out that you are one of the fake news that we all have to be aware of. All right, here is a little bit of news from the Kyoto University, and this university is one of the spring blockchain and research universities, thanks to Emi Yoshikawa. I think she made that happen. And there was an article featured by the Nikkei. Nikkei is Japan's version of the Wall Street Journal. Actually, they own the Financial Times too. So Professor Iwashita predicted that back in 1998, he said that banknotes would disappear. Well, now he is suggesting that the role of banks and their fate will be determined by the consumer. I think he's totally right, and there is one person who's acutely aware of that and making the changes necessary, and that is Mr. Kitao. Mr. Kitao is in the news today because he announced, or it is announced, that he invested in another local bank, this one in Fukuoka, which is south of Tokyo. He's going to become a major shareholder, and he's one step closer to creating a 4th mega bank in Japan. And he's going to do so with this alliance that so far there's 10 regional banks that have joined him. He'll keep a 51% stake in the venture, and this is not a bailout, he says, but together SBI can introduce various new technologies to unite and roll out nationwide as one force. He's very customer-centric. He's very much in tune, and I think he's going to be very successful. And not only that, in 2020, there is something new. So speaking of the Nikkei, CNBC, TV Tokyo, and Jupiter Telecom have started a new market and economy channel, and they launched it with Mr. Kitao. It is a weekly program. They've filmed 2 episodes so far, and it's called The Market Seme no IR Breakthrough. This kanji is very interesting. This is the kanji right here. It is taken from the verb semeru, which means like to assault, but semi means to take the offense or to attack. So it's a very interesting word that they have used for the title. And when you go to look at the videos, you can find them actually on YouTube as well. Mr. Kitao is really relaxed and in a good mood. You can see the real Mr. Kitao. Unlike, well, when you watch the presentations that he gives in front of the shareholders for his quarterly reports, he's very serious. But when you see him in this kind of environment where he runs the gamut of conversation in terms of talking about the Olympics, the up and coming elections in the US, how we are going to a cashless society, the cost of ATMs, public pension, the risk and return of insurance. Yeah, it's basically talking about the economy and economic topics. A little bit of food, because that's very typical for Japanese talk about food, but you see the real Mr. Kitao's personality here. So I think even if you don't understand Japanese, you can see how he is so confident and enjoys this space. All right, Tezos, Tokyo meetup. Tezos is coming again to Tokyo. They were just here in October. The meeting that's going to occur on January 21st will actually have the Chief Security Officer, Ryan Lackey, join. And there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of talk about the coming STOs, the security token offerings, which is being led by Mr. Kitao. I can't go on that night. I'm really sorry. I already have something that's happening. But Tezos is a project that I'm following. And you can see they're going to also be at Davos this week. That is the town in the Swiss Alps where the World Economic Forum takes place. It happens from the 21st to the 24th. This is the 50th year. And yeah, Tezos is a smart contracts platform. They have a special verification tool. They're up 18% this week. And you can see that over 1,300 Tezos developers have been trained as a part of their 1,000 new developers initiative. I really messed up my screens here, but anyway, they're very well on track. Okay, let's see if I can jump over to this. This is the funny story of the day. This is, I have to admit, something that I fell for. I thought it was real. It's a Coil article by @XRP_productions, and it's really funny. It shows a fairly noticeable Photoshop image. Once you look closely at it, you can see that David appears here, and he supposedly is on the Joe Rogan podcast. And the article talks about how he had this 3-hour interview, but forgot to talk about XRP. How outrageous, David. How could you do that? And in the article, even the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, says on the phone, for the love of God, why? So I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, David, how could you forget in this 3-hour podcast not to mention XRP? But it's not true. It's all in good humor and tongue-in-cheek. And at the bottom, and yes, this is a fake tweet, so please don't spread this. This is real. But in the article, it goes on to say that David said it was so cool to finally sit down today and talk Elder Scrolls with Joe Rogan. And I loved talking about all the different flavors of Kit Kats. Oh gosh, that made me laugh. So I tweeted to David that I was hoping it was true and that you really did talk about the flavors of Kit Kats. I was all excited to send you a grab bag of some of the most difficult ones to find from Japan. In the meantime, I'll send a selection to the San Francisco address so that the team can enjoy. So I am going to do that. Okay, everybody, let's truly jump to the fluff. This is Kit Kat fluff. Yep, because on the 15th of January, there was big announcement made that there'll be a Kit Kat matcha yuzu flavor. We don't have a date yet, but yuzu is a very special citrus fruit related to the orange. It's used a lot in Japanese cuisine. It originated in China. It was made popular during the Tang Dynasty. It takes about 10 years to first produce fruit from the tree. I love it. The taste is strong. It just needs a tiny bit for the flavor. And it grows very well here in Japan, even in the colder regions. It's very, very hardy. Something you'll see very often this time of year are the people who are soaking at hot springs with floating yuzu in the water because it's thought to help fight winter colds and the flu. And there is nothing also cuter than the pictures you see that come just right now in this season with the capybara. This is a mammal that's native to South America. It's the largest living rodent in the world, but they love the hot springs just like the snow monkeys do in Japan. And the capybara soak with yuzu. It's kind of, this picture in the video has become quite a tradition, and they show it every year. This is something you just have to see. This is a capybara in Japan, and they live in groups of about 10 to 20. They're very social. They grow quite large, actually, up to 134 centimeters or 4 feet in length. They can weigh up to 66 kilograms. That's 146 pounds. The females are a bit larger than the males. You can see here how much they love the hot water. They're getting into their hot spring with floating yuzu in Japan. They have a foot that is slightly webbed, so they are semi-aquatic, superb swimmers, and can hold their breath up to 5 minutes underwater. I think those of you living in Florida are familiar with them because these grass and fruit eaters are there. They live on average about 8 to 10 years, but I'm telling you, the noses are just too cute. Look at that. So cute. All right, everybody. Yeah, do take care. All right. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.